Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a Way of the Shadow Monk build guide for in Baldur's Gate 3. Now, this isn't as strong as the open hand monk, but it is really interesting for the roleplay ability that this has and the unique dialogue you get as a shadow monk. So, we're going to go here and start off as the monk, obviously that's the way that this build is going to go. And we're going to start off with the ability score set as we're going to go all the way up with our Constitution, Dexterity, and Wisdom. Those are our main three stats. We have what if the monk's function of the unarmored defense, which gives you our wisdom modifier to our armor class when we're not wearing armor. So we want to pump that up as high as we can possibly get it for the safety of ourselves. So we're going to go somewhere around 16 with our wisdom, and then we can take our dexterity roughly around there-ish. We can alternatively take some stats a little bit differently. Like if we want our constitution a little bit higher, we can go with that. So one of our stats will have to be kind of lower than the other. So we'll go with something like this. I know it's you want to have optimal builds at even numbers, but we're going to get into that with our feats as well. So that's what we're going to take for level 1 there as the monk. Now the Shadow Monk's quite interesting in how it works, because it's really about moving around, zipping around the battlefield in darkness. So at level 2 we get our chi points and unarmed movement, 3 meters increased movement speed when not wearing armor or using a shield, which we're not going to because that's how you can make this class strong. So level 2 monk just really gets the patient defense. Attacker rolls on you have disadvantage, and you have advantage on attack and advantage on dexterity saving throws with the bonus action. So you can use some of these step of the winds to help out just with overall survivability. But that's that for our first or second level of monk. Now we get to choose our way here. Way of the Open Hand is very powerful. Way of the Four Elements allows us to cast spells, and we can't be silenced with Way of the Four Elements. But Way of the Shadow gives us the Shadow Art's Hide, so you can succeed a stealth check and go into hiding. We also get Pass Without Trace, the Shadow Art, so gives us a +10 to stealth checks. It's kind of nice. Shadow Art's Darkness, using 2 chi points to make this with the concentration. Shadow Art's Dark Vision, grant a creature the ability to see in the dark. We're a drow, so we already get the ability to see in the dark. And then Shadow Art's Silence, create a soundproof sphere, all within our silence and immune to thunder damage. So that's really nice. Then we get Minor Illusion Cantrip. Minor Illusion is pretty powerful, and you can group enemies together with it, or if you're going to steal from a room, you can get them to move out of the way of the room. So we also get our Deflect Missile, so use a reaction to reduce the damage for a ranged weapon attack by 1d10 plus your dexterity modifier plus your monk level. If the damage is reduced to 0, use a key point to deflect the missile. So that can be nice to shut down enemy ranged attacks. At level 4, we get the Shadow Slow Fall, so when you fall, you can use a reaction to gain resistance to falling damage and additional chi points. So we're going to take our ability score as our feat, and that way we can take our wisdom up to 18 to get a nice +4 to our armor class, and then the +4 wisdom modifier, and then take our dexterity up to 16. So that's nice and rounded there, having a good amount of constitution, wisdom, and our dexterity. So that'll be it for level 4 of the monk. Now at level 5 we get ourselves an extra attack, so that's really nice. Additional chi point. We get the stunning strikes, and we also get the Cloak of Shadows. Wrap yourself in shadows, become invisible if you're obscured. So invisibility, pretty nice. Again, this is not as strong as the open hand monk, but there is some usefulness here. We also get Darkness, which we can use without using chi points if you're a drow. I recommend using a drow for this because it just works out in the darkness of this build. Now level 6, we get Chi Empowered Strikes, so this counts our attacks as non-physical damage if the target is immune to physical damage. So this makes your just attacks deal more damage outright. If a target has a resistance or an immunity, they're taking half damage or no damage from your attack. So being able to attack as a magic attack is very nice. Our movement speed will increase by 4.5 meters when we're not wearing armor. And then we also get Shadow Step. And this is a really big benefit of the Shadow Monk. So teleport from shadow to shadow. Afterwards, you have advantage on your next attack roll. That's quite nice. And we use that as a bonus action. So it's like Misty Step, but then you get advantage on attack rolls. So that's really one of the main benefits of playing as a Shadow Monk, is that ability right there, because it can be very useful, especially if your whole team is kind of set up to deal with darkness. And then at level 7, we get Evasion. So your agility allows you to dodge out of the ways of certain spells. When a spell or attack would deal half damage on a successful dexterity saving throw, it deals no damage if you succeed and only half if you fail. So flat out less damage taken. If you're charmed or frightened, you'll automatically cast Stillness of Mind to reduce that or remove it. So that's quite nice too. So level 7 does have some nice stuff to it, but at level 8 we get ourselves another ability score improvement. So there's 2 ways we can go about doing this. Tavern Brawler is really effective. I think the Tavern Brawler makes some of the most strongest classes in this game. So what this does is it'll add your strength modifier twice to the attack and damage rolls. And this is for unarmed attacks or thrown attacks. So it would have been nice if we taken 15 Constitution here, because then we can mark it up to 16 with this. So there's a few other ways that we go about doing this. If this is your Tav, you can take the Hag's Hair on your Constitution or your Wisdom, and then you can move the stats around accordingly so that this is an even number with this. We'll pretend that we took the Hag's Hair and Constitution, so that would take it up to 18. You can also go with the ability score improvement and take your Wisdom up to 20. But what's nice about Tavern Brawler is it's going to add our Strength modifier is not so nice right now. But Strength, this is if you want to use Strength Potions, because then you can have a +8 Strength modifier. So it's a plus 8 times 2, so 16 on our attack rolls and our damage rolls. So very strong. And I'll show you what that looks like because I have a Strength Potion on this character. At level 9, we have unarmed movement, so difficult terrain doesn't slow you down. You can jump an additional 6 meters when you're not wearing armor, so jumping is really effective as a Shadow Monk, but we also have the ability to Shadow Step. Now, level 10, we get a Purity of Body, immune to poison damage. Our unarmed movement increases to 6 meters, and another chi point, so that's nice. And then level 11, we get ourselves the Shadow Strike, so this is plus 3d8 psychic damage, teleport to a foe from a hidden position, striking them with a creeping psychic ferocity of shadows themselves. And then you can also do the unarmed version of this. So this is what we'd be doing typically because we're not going to be using weapons often. So Shadow Strike unarmed, 7 to 35 damage. So it's a 1d8 plus 3 bludgeoning and then plus 3d8 of psychic damage. So teleport to a foe from a hidden position and attack them. Uses 3 chi points. Pretty strong. It's pretty strong. And then at level 12, we get ourselves another chi point, and then we can add in a feat. So I think this, for the way of the Shadow Monk, it's best to just stick all levels into the Monk. Multi-classing it, you do lose out on some of the benefits of it, because level 11 is when we really get that nice ability. So yeah, for our final ability, I think it's best to take our Wisdom up to 20 there. So that's going to be good to just keep our overall, our armor class a little bit higher. Now, if you didn't take Tavern Brawler, you could use another ability and score improvement to take Dexterity up higher or your Constitution up higher, whichever of those you prefer. And if you had the Hag's Hair, that could mean you have a 20 Constitution, 20 Wisdom. So the way we typically go about doing this and the armor that we're going to select for this build, so I like the Mask of Soul Perception, +2 to attack rolls, initiative rolls, and perception checks. Now with the Strength Potion, that puts our strength up to 27, so our punches are going to hurt. 36 to 68 damage. That's pretty wild, and that's a bonus action flurry of blows, mind you. Deathstalker Mantle, once per turn when you kill an enemy, you turn yourself invisible for 2 turns. This works perfectly. This is only accessible to the Dark Urge. If you're not the Dark Urge, then the Cloak of Displacement can be nice. Gives enemies disadvantage on attack rolls. So since our armor class is only 21 compared to some other classes having a bit higher armor class, we want every little advantage we can get. Vest of Soul Rejuvenation, whenever wearer succeeds on a saving throw against a spell, they regain 1 to 4 health. Greater Kashido Counter, so the wearer can use a reaction to make an unarmed strike against any attacker that misses. So if you're getting attacked and they miss, which they have a higher chance of missing, especially if you have that robe on, you get a punch in the face. Pretty nice. Gloves of Soul Catching, best in slot gloves. So our unarmed attacks deal an additional 1d10 of force damage. And then once per turn on an armed hit, you can regain 10 health, or you can forego that and gain advantage on attack rolls and saving throws until the end of our turn. That's nice. It also gives us a +2 to our Constitution. We do have the Constitution Amulet on at this moment, but otherwise that would take our Constitution up to 20 if we had the Hag's Hair, or 22 if we didn't take Tavern Brawler. So we're pretty juicy in terms of stats. Evasive Shoes, a +1 to acrobatics and armor class, so that gives us that nice 21 armor class. Now, I like to use the Greater Amulet of Greater Health there, and we can also, you can dump stats in this, so it's pretty good freedom to move stats around, because with this it sets our Constitution at 23, allowing us to put more into Dexterity and Strength. I like the Killer Sweetheart, next attack will be a critical hit, once after long rest, and Ring of Regeneration for 1d4 health at the start of a turn. So that's quite nice. And the typical way about going about this was you'd be wanting to, you'd want to be hiding as much as you possibly can. They're getting suspicious of me hiding. Why are you sneaking around? So sneak is great, but we want to use Minor Illusion, because what this does is it's going to move people around. So it grabs everyone's attention and everyone's over there. So you can use this to move around unseen, and what's nice about that is then you can drop your attacks on people that way. Shadow Art's pass with a trace is kind of nice because this will allow us to have more stealth, because this gives us a +10 to stealth check, so that's pretty nice. And we want to get into darkness as much as possible, so that's why we have the darkness spell. What's nice about darkness is we can hide in that, and we're going to be hiding pretty successfully because it's hard to see in the darkness. And then we can also use our shadow step, teleport from shadow to shadow, so you can use this to teleport around, and it's quite nice. As a bonus action to give yourself advantage on the next melee attack roll, you can shadow step and then go in and punch people in the face, and our punches are going to be quite strong. So yeah, upwards of 68 damage on a flurry of blows is quite nice. And then yeah, all the other benefits. Now I do have a build on the open hand monk, which I think is a powerhouse and much stronger than this build, so yeah, you can go with either of these that you prefer, but I just want to make a Shadow Monk build because I don't see a whole lot of them out there. So there it is. That is the Shadow Monk for Baldur's Gate 3. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video useful, please hit the subscribe button below. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.